I struggle sticking to the plan even when I know it's working. This is a phrase that we've heard quite a lot recently, and I want to give you a behind the scenes of a coach discussion we had with our private coaches inside of our business in order to talk you through how we're tackling this response. And for you, as potentially the person that's struggling with this or wants to get more consistent with your health, I'm going to walk you through the strategies that we take as a coach that might also help you. And to start with, I want to share with you a bit of a discussion around a quote that came up, which was the biggest mistake of smart engineers is over engineering something that shouldn't exist, right? And just like our coaches, the biggest risk here is to continue to oversimplify things or break things down, make it more achievable when the issue isn't really a time constraint or an energy constraint, it's a discomfort constraint. And this is really the separation between the coaches that are smart in regards to the book knowledge. They're able to make the changes to logically make the workout better, right? It's a calorie change or it's an adjustment in workout reps or something there. But this is actually more of a mental discussion of how do we lean into discomfort? How do we have a discussion of discipline that allows us to really find a middle ground of this is achievable and I know I can do it, right? And there's sort of two key basics that we always want to make sure is in place first. The first one here is simply, will this realistically fit inside my schedule? I think this is it sounds like a simple question, but in most cases in practice, there are too many people that have 2 calendars or 5 calendars and nothing ever actually fits into one day. When you put it into one calendar, there's always overlap. So we kind of set ourselves up for failure because we're in a place where we're simply, if we had all of that in one calendar, we can quite clearly see that we can't do all of it. So something always takes priority, and that's going to be your work deadline. That's going to be picking up your kids. That's going to be something else that you need to do in your day, another obligation. It won't be your health until you make this change. So in most cases, it's a discussion around a bit of a no season, to be frank, getting clear on what are the things that you've taken on that are simply bleeding into your time. What are the areas that you're wasting time that you could be significantly more efficient? How could you fuel and move the body in a way that kind of goes both ways, right? You want to fit in time to move and fuel your body well. And when you do so, you also are more productive with your day. So it's having that reshuffle that we can fit those things in so that we get more out of our day. And I'm sure you've seen this before, but there are so many of our clients that we have had that discussion where they struggle to get everything done in 10, 12, 14 hours a day. And as soon as we start to anchor in some movement, we start to anchor in a focus of breath, we fuel our body with strong, high quality meals, we make a significant difference to that mental clarity, that sharpness, that productivity, that the workday can now be done in 7 hours, not in 9, not bleeding into the night. And all those other things that fit in the 15 to 16 hours start to become significantly more achievable. All right, so that's the first frame. Can I realistically fit this all in a day? Check it out in your calendar. Play a little bit of colorful Jenga with your calendar so you can start to fit in not just the work, meetings, and obligations there, and also picking up kids or whatever other meetings and social events you have. Where are those workouts going? Get that sorted ahead of time. I personally always do this on a Sunday night as a let's put in the key time blocks for the week. And then as I get to the end of every day, I'm going to make some small tweaks to that day to actually realistically what happened in hindsight, which can make a really nice training exercise to improve our ability to estimate what things will take priority, what will take up a certain amount of time. And I say that because that was me for a long time. I thought everything took 20 minutes, where in some cases I truly needed, 2 hours to actually really get a strong quality deep work block or reading or doing a workout and the showers and everything else included in order to get back into my schedule. So it's something that I think takes a bit of work, but when you get it right, it can make a huge impact to the flexibility within a calendar because you have those key prompts to fit you back in. So this really leads into the second one, which is, do you have a nudge that reminds you? And this is a sort of poor planning exercise of, okay, everything fits in my calendar, but I always just kind of keep working through. There's continue bleeding through of the last time block. So the nudges here can be something that you know is reliably happening in every day, right? It's a bell that rings at 12 o'clock if you're in a school. It might be you getting out of the car or getting into the car to remind yourself to breathe. It might be when you actually sit down to have that meal, you take 5 deep breaths before the meal. It might simply be an alarm on your phone, but have a nudge to remind yourself that those time blocks that you keep missing, there's a reliable anchor that you can now lean on, okay? So it's not just enough to have it in your calendar if you don't look at your calendar. There needs to be a nudge in some form that when it becomes that 3 o'clock or that 9 a.m., you actually do the thing. All right. So those are the two sort of preconditions here. You want to make sure that you've designed your way that you're adding a bit more design in environment rather than just relying on discipline in itself. If this is still you, those two suggestions are going to be the game changer for the next 6 months, and just focusing on that. Play that Tetris with your calendar, fit the stuff that you do in your day into that calendar. Don't tell me that your day doesn't run like that. We've worked with every single career, every single style of day. This is including movie directors, this is including farmers, this is including all these schedules that can be thrown out of the window, but we can still anchor us back in, and arguably probably more important, the more volatile your day is. And then the second part of that, what's my nudge? What's my reminder that this thing will actually happen? We all have reminders for the stuff we need to do at work and the things we need to do for family, but we very rarely have those reminders, those nudges to get stuff in for us. So that's the first design aspect. The second part is, okay, yeah, I'm actually doing that. I've been following you for a long time. We're putting some prompts in place. This now becomes a discipline discussion, right? I've actually got the systems. I've actually got the structure. I'm just not doing it. And the frame that I can simply put in place here is going to be, if I stick with this and I get the result, is it worth it? Right? Is this something I'm truly after? Have I got the right goal? Because if we're in a spot that we want to get to a marathon and we find that we get into sort of a 10K run, anything beyond 10Ks, I no longer enjoy. I no longer feel motivated to do it. There's two ways to put it, because sometimes when things get hard in the short term, we think about how it'd be so much easier if we just didn't have that activity. That's fine. But I'm thinking more future pace this to, okay, when I've achieved that marathon, is that something that I really care about? If the answer is like, actually, no, I just did it because it looked cool at the time. Now I know what's actually required. This is no longer my goal and I feel really unmotivated, and now I can kind of see why I'm procrastinating in some form. I'm like, great, find a goal that lights you up and let's focus on that instead, right? Or it's like, yes, I absolutely want to achieve it. It's just really hard right now. And if the answer is the second one, which is I'm really motivated to achieve this goal, but it's just hard. The answer is, well, what did you expect? The goal is worth achieving. It's not going to be easy. Pull your pants up, be an adult, and step up, right? If you're getting to this place where what I've found is 90% will be in stage one, which is that they set a goal, it was kind of vague, and there was no real emotional pull. Right? So in that case, change the goal, find something that's more helpful. If you do have that emotional pull, then there's nothing else getting in the way than you. And being able to be frank about that discussion of, I've actually got an exciting goal that I'm leaning towards. And when I signed up to this, I knew there was going to be a challenge. I knew there was going to be disruption or a change in my current habits, or I would have already achieved it. And it's that championship mentality of most people that achieve a result where there's a significant amount of work required. By the time they actually get to the point of achieving the result, they kind of expected it because they knew they'd put in so much work, so much volume that it was undeniable. They knew that they were going to get to that spot. Now there's luck and there's all these variables that can come into play, but of the controllables, being able to get up, go to the gym, fuel the body in a certain way, take the time to put in the reps, focus on a level of intensity, and protect your time in order to get those workouts in, that's something you can control. And being able to, there's going to be a component there where every few days or every couple of weeks, there might be a disruption, there might be a constraint on workouts. That's part of life. And you didn't have that, I think you'd be incredibly bored, because there's various activities that you'll have in your day, there's various activities you'll have in your week, that there's probably multiple things going on. There's going to have to be a game of Jenga. So take that time to shift focus from this is hard, I can't find a way to fit this into my week, to I chose this goal, I want to achieve that result, I know I'll feel proud of it, and I won't feel proud because I achieved it, I'll feel proud of all of those things I had to overcome to get there. And that kind of in itself sums up the hard discussions of what coaching really is. It's not here to motivate you. It's not here to give you a goal that's not meaningful to you. It's simply to remind you of the thing you wanted to do. And if we can then design that structure in a way that helps you get there smarter, faster, or in a way that doesn't ruin other aspects of life, now we're playing more of a complete game. But it's always a mutual, I'm walking alongside you, I'm certainly not pulling you. And this is something I had to learn the hard way with coaching, is I can never want it more than you. If there's a goal, there's a result, I need to make sure that I can see that inside of you, something you want, because there's plenty of people that are happy to sit on the couch and complain about it and not actually do the stuff. So my goal here is to simply highlight what camp are you in. Are the ones that would prefer to complain on it, have that pain that they don't actually want to change but will talk about it, or the person who's ready to get up and go, because there's so much inaction out there, and the more we consume, the more we get stuck in the noise, the more, unfortunately, we end up in the first where we just sit on the couch and complain about it. We get overwhelmed, we get stuck, and we don't move forward. But the guys and girls that are out there getting the most out of life are the ones that actively focus on reducing noise, adding intention into the day, having a visual representation with their calendar, with those nudges to actually fit them in. And when you do that, when you have someone you're bouncing ideas off, it becomes a KPI just like work, just like other performance indicators in your day that are important. And I think it's worth reminding ourselves that we show up to work, we show up and do the stuff that we maybe don't feel like doing, right? I hope that you enjoy your work, but every aspect of your work, there's probably a couple things that you'd prefer to do more than others. And being able to bring that awareness to overall, you don't just say, well, I'm not going to do that. I feel tired today. In most cases, there's a certain standard that you hold to yourself if you see yourself as a driven professional in some form, whereas there's going to be other components you're like, this lights me up, I would do this for free, and that's amazing. You've got to have both of them in order to truly enjoy your work, but it's never 100% of your work, usually, that you love every second of it. So being able to apply that same frame to your health, there's going to be aspects that you love, and that might be, geez, when I put those clothes back on, I just feel a little bit leaner. I stand a little bit taller. I've got a bit more energy. I feel sharper. Like I'm really, really glad that that's there. There might be certain lifts that you kind of surprise yourself with and you feel a little bit stronger today. And you're like, oh, I feel like I'm actually, over the course of the month, I'm making progress. This feels good. There's a reward to it. But then there's going to be days where it's just cold outside. There's going to be days where you slept terribly. There's going to be days where you've missed a meal and you feel hungry in the workout, right? I'm leaning this towards workouts, but whatever health focus you have, it could be a breathing practice. It could be getting your walk in. It could simply be that preparation of meals. Being able to do the stuff that you don't want to do to get the stuff that you do want to have is always a back and forth with that emotional state, and getting yourself to a point that you're able to do the things regardless of your emotional state in the moment is an absolute superpower in today's world. And that's something that we're harnessing with our coaches all of the time, and they're translating into our clients to get those amazing results. But there's a two-part aspect that hopefully I've communicated here. Step one, design your day so that you're running on a improved environment to make it happen, so not everything's fighting against you, and control the controllables. If there's things out of your control, you can't control them, so stop worrying about them. And then step two is, okay, if those things are in place and you're still getting in your own way, let's have the frank discussion about the person that's getting in the way, the one in the mirror, the one that we need to look at this through more of a future pacing of, is this a goal worth achieving? If it is, great. Let's start to put some KPIs in place, put your big girl pants on and go. All right? That's my discussion for today. That was a really enjoyable and motivating discussion for me personally with some amazing coaches inside of Body Reset this morning. And I feel like some of you needed to hear it. So I hope that was helpful for you too. See you guys.